Okay, so we'll call this August 12th, school board meeting to order. And then Quincy's gonna lead us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any revisions to the agenda tonight? Any revisions this evening to the agenda?
My only revision might just be that we postpone voting on F, the approval of minutes, because I can't vote on them because I wasn't here for one of the meetings. So my suggestion is we bump those to the next business meeting. That's my only thought. I don't know how to do this. I'm gonna review the agenda.
Then you can vote on that, or? I don't know, we just vote on that.
Vote on that revision, yes.
So I make a motion that we vote, or can I make a motion that we move the voting on approval of minutes item F to the next business meeting?
I'll second that one. So moved by Quincy, seconded by Jerry, all in favor. Okay, thank you. So we are moving the approval minutes to the September meeting.
So we'll do July and August together.
That's not great.
Okay.
Okay. Public comment. This item is the appropriate place to make comments about an item not on the agenda, but within the court's jurisdiction. Each action item on the agenda has its own public comment period. In order to protect individual rights of privacy, avoid comments that identify students or staff members. Additionally, public comment cannot be used to make comments regarding contested cases, grievances, or legal proceedings. Due to open meeting laws, the board cannot respond in any way to comments made during the public comment period. So is there any public comment today? Okay. So we'll move to E, which is the public correspondence, which I do not believe we have any. This week. F is moved, and G is the student trustee report, which he is not here yet on summer break. And H is our WEA or WCEA updates. Also still summer break. We'll move into the discussion and action items. A is the summer jumpstart program highlight. I'll let you take it away, Sarah.
So you all know that this year our district implemented the Summer Jumpstart program, which is one of the program alternatives or choices that schools can opt into under their early literacy initiative. Their main goal, if that were to be worded, is that they believe that a student should be given all opportunity to be reading at benchmark or at proficiency level by grade 3. So our Summer Jumpstart program targeted those students determined eligible during screening opportunities in the spring who were incoming kindergartners. So those brand new, never ever come to schools, up through incoming 3rd grade. So those who had just finished 2nd grade. It was a great opportunity. I think my favorite part was at the beginning when a kindergartner walked up. I'll change the name. For him, walked up to me on the first day of school. We were checking people in, first day of summer school, and said, "Hello, my name is William. I'm here for the kindergarten." And I went, "Welcome, William. I'm here to help the kindergarteners. Right this way, please." And we had 0 tears in the kindergarten classroom, except for 3 parents who stood at the door and cried with each other. But it was a lot of fun. The kids did some amazing work. It was staffed by 3 teachers. So we had an incoming kindergarten classroom, an incoming 1st grade classroom, and then a combined 2nd, 3rd grade classroom. Those students could begin to work on some of those comprehension skills. Each grade level had their own area in which they could qualify, or areas or pieces of literacy competency that they could qualify under. So those 2nd, 3rd graders were beginning to work on those overall reading and comprehension skills, in addition to the fluency, phonemic awareness, etc., that some of the lower grades were focusing more on. In a snapshot of a classroom's progress, I took 2nd grade. We progress monitored weekly throughout the program. Of course, 6 weeks is not a long time to implement an intervention. But those students were coming in averaging below the 25th percentile in their reading skills, that particular second grade group. And they came out of the program averaging the 30th percentile. So they are well on their way, hopefully jump started on their way towards being proficient readers by that third grade level. We had a great staffing opportunity as well. We had 7 paraeducators who supported around, and we coupled that with a high school credit recovery opportunity as well. So we had both our oldest and our babyest students in the building at that time, which was actually quite a lot of fun. Great support from food service and others from Travis, who got to do some of his supporting of the school in the cleaning area during the summer when he might have done different work. There were a few calls to Travis. And I learned that a lot of respect to Muldown teachers. I don't know how they keep teaching because their teeth keep falling out of their heads all day. I owe Madison Kazaza a box of Ziploc baggies. But it was a really great opportunity. Next year's will expand to include early numeracy. So there will be early math skills that will be addressed. That I think in some ways will be supportive to kind of a more well-rounded schedule. Those teachers taught often 3 different types of kind of intervention level reading instruction throughout the day. And they'll be able to blend that a little more holistically with students who are needing some additional math support. Of course, we all know that a student who's struggling with reading is probably going to show you that maybe they're struggling with math as well, but they may really just not be as competent in reading that story problem or that word problem and interpreting it. A sentence is a sentence, whether it has a period at the end or an equal sign and a number. So we had a great time getting to know the students. I think they're well prepared for starting. Certainly that group of about 25 kindergartners will walk in on the first day of school and wonder what's wrong with their friends. But we were really proud of them. Thankful for the staff. Thank you for the support from the district to run a program. Yeah. And
Questions? How many students were?
we offered, or we had 50 students sign up, about 45 attended throughout the program, and attendance was pretty decent. Of course, summers are hard, so there were some commitments that families had already made, but they made best use of the time they had, and in general we had that 40 range there daily.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Very nice.
Okay, so B is going to be our WHS expansion ownership update.
Hey, hello, everybody. Good to see you. This is the August update to the high school academic and athletic expansion projects. Jumping right into the report. In short, things are on track. The design is continuing moving forward. And contracts are in place, and everything's within schedule and budget at this point. So nothing earth-shattering to report this month. But we do have a few updates. So the first one you're seeing on the financial section, the only thing that's new this month is that we've included a total dollars spent to date. And what you're seeing there, that 882,000 is a lot of early spending that's inclusive of some design items, survey items, geotechnical items, some early consulting type stuff that's typical for this stage of the project. So no major variables on that to report. And you'll start seeing that updated on a monthly basis from here on out. Other than that, jumping right into the milestones, we did execute the GCCM contract, which is the only thing that really changed here in the milestone section. So that's a great hurdle, a great milestone to have behind us. Full team executed under contract on board. Everything else has not, it remains the same, which means things are still on track in terms of the design and construction. So that's really good to see at this stage of the project. And then key milestone updates here. The first one, again, GCCM is under contract with Martell. We have been undergoing a lot of value engineering and design efficiency work over the past month for both phases of the project. And so A&E will talk on that a little bit more in a minute. But that's just all an effort to get the budget and the design aligned, and everything is going really well there. As far as the design process, things are moving forward nicely. We are tracking a goal of October 1st for the 100% DD, which is design development documents to be complete. So that's right on track with everything that needs to occur, getting right up to breaking ground. And then, as I kind of noted, the construction cost estimate, we did get the last round, which was at the end of schematic design. And we've gone through some value engineering efforts. And at this point, at this stage in the progress or in the project, things are right in the typical ranges that we like to see for the design and the cost estimate. So that's really good news. And we'll continue to refine and develop as design moves forward. Our next round of cost estimating is tracking to happen around the 100% DD stage. So that'll be a really nice update for where things are at that point. Progress photos, nothing too exciting this month. Again, we're just looking at a lot of design aspects. So not that that's not exciting. It is very exciting. It's just on my progress update photos, they're a lot slimmer than what you'll see from A&E here in a minute. The first one here is the current site plan that just shows the current conceptual to give an update of where things are at with the building, and very similar to what you saw last time. So nothing major has changed there. And then the second photo is just an update for the perspective, a rendering of the main entry, which takes into account some of those value engineering items that we talked about and that A&E will go more in depth on here in a minute. It just gives kind of a new update, a new shot of what we're currently looking at for design of that main entry. So that's the August update. Any questions?
I was just gonna clarify, just, and I know everything, I understand nothing is sensitive, but just generally speaking, looking at the timeline. It looks like if I'm doing math right. So if you start the new construction for academic phase, March 2026, start athletic phase, same March 2026. So then if you're wrapped up in theory by August 2027, is it really just that 2026 school year that the students and staff are gonna be mostly impacted then? If you're starting in spring, then you got the summer, but then it's really just that 2026 and then hopefully done by that spring. Is that accurate?
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
The goal is to have things mainly opened up by August that school year of 2027.
Okay.
Correct. There will be some items most likely that will trickle into that school year, but in effect, most of it will be complete for the most part. Yeah, substantially.
So hopefully
That's
there's
the goal.
disruption to routines for the world.
That's the goal.
Hopefully this is just the one.
Correct. Yep.
Any other questions or? Thank you.
Yeah.
It's looking
Yep.
good. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to C, which is our WHS expansion update.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I wanted to just piggyback on Luke's update there, and the board attachment is really kind of a mashup of a presentation we gave a little over a week ago to the committee. It was an update just to inform them of where we are as we're coming into the school year, knowing that when educators land, it's difficult to get their time. So we just wanted to check in with them and make sure that we were tracking. And so this is a little bit of a lengthy document, but it's pretty comprehensive. I'll just try to hit the wave tops and build off of what Luke just presented. So you'll see that it's the A8 meeting. That's the 8th meeting that we've had with the committee, which is our A series of meetings as we've designated it. And so really the next page is just the team, those committees and the design team, owners rep. And so I'm gonna make you navigate. I'm gonna make you click a bunch, Dave.
Not plumbing, sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. That's all right. We can park it right there. What we just kind of bounced over was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the committee and then.
I'm rolling in the schedule. And so continue to kind of mark these different types of schedules. think since the last meeting, I think we had recently given last time I gave a board update, we had recently given a community meeting and done some of our, what we call room data meetings before the end of the year. Those are where we gather all the kind of finer information from all the different user groups within the school and understand a little bit more deeply how they want to use each of the spaces and really start fine tuning it to each of their individual programs, existing equipment they have, really trying to understand how they want to teach while also leaving it flexible. Of course, we're working within a schedule here that was a great question. Kind of the work back for us is from spring break. And so that's big idea there is that you get better bid pricing in the spring. Contractors are typically more hungry at that time. You see better bid prices. And Martell is planning to mobilize around spring break and really starting to prepare some of those things so they can make the best use of the summer and then that next school year and then the following summer in order to not disrupt, to minimize disruption to the 27-28 school year. Of course, there's remodel in there, and so there's always the game of having to displace students and teachers and create capacity. So in doing so, it always feels like you get pinched a little bit. You get squeezed on the site where you're already feeling like you're bursting at the seams a little bit because of enrollment. And so we're continuing to track those things with bond language, enrollment, costs, schedule. It's just kind of the nature of our work is that we have to keep tracking with all of those things and understand how to make it stand up and heat it and cool it and ideally make it also be beautiful and welcoming and flexible and future-proofed for the future of the delivery of education. We still look back at these guiding principles, these design goals that we established early with the committee, and make sure that we're upholding all of those things and that the design is achieving those 5 items. And then as I roll into the design concept here, it's almost like there are little tweaks, and the tweaks are now getting so small, looking for those efficiencies and things that you don't see these big grandiose moves. It's not options of does the addition go here or over there. Big moves are kind of yesterday's news, and now we're really getting down to kind of the finer details, finding the economy in there, stretching the dollars as far as we possibly can, making sure that we're future proofing it and getting multiple uses out of these spaces and thinking about how classrooms might be adapted in the future as well, that they could have a use today and a use at some other time in the near or distant future. So to be able to set up the school district for that as well. So there's some flexibility within the plan. There's also been a good deal of work working with Martell on a phasing plan, and we're getting to that stage. Luke mentioned the 100% design development milestone coming up. That's an opportunity for all of the design team members, all the different disciplines to get together and make sure that we're all coordinated. We'll also do another cost estimate with Martell and see how we're tracking on that front. Also be an opportunity for owner review. And then another kind of layer of what does that phasing plan look like? What does it look like during spring break? What does it look like at these different milestones? What does it look like at Christmas break? And how do we start to do these transitions and solve the smaller problems within the bigger project? So this is a look at the school itself in context with the athletic fields. And as we work our way through this presentation, this kind of top part of it is academics, and the last few pages are athletics, kind of proportionate to the 2 different bond amounts. You can see there's a few, if you look closely and if you kind of have a good mental image of what the last plan looked like, it's very, very close. There just continue to be small tweaks along the way and making sure that these things are right sized and continuing to meet the bond language and fit the budget. What's on the next slide? Oh yeah, some exterior perspectives. It's kind of a key plan. A few exterior perspectives so we can kind of flip through what these look like. It shows the main entry and a couple of the elevations on the side of the new addition. So a look in from Pine. And if you recall from some of our previous considerations and options, it was big questions of where's the front door Do we relocate the front door, keep it where it is, and we elect to keep it where it is, keep admin where it is, that's functioning really well. It's in a good position to have good eyes on the school and who's coming and going. And so how do we start to use the addition to identify where the front door is? It's a little tricky at the moment. And so some signage and a little bit of wayfinding and maybe just a little pop of color there starts to draw your eye over to where the front door is. So you can see the materials are still in line with where they were previously, compatible to the existing material palette. And then a view of more of that true elevation from Pine with some new parking along that side of the property. And then another perspective, you would basically be standing in the gear heads from that perspective. They're not going anywhere, but they're not here for the purposes of rendering this view. And then not to be forgotten about the CTE addition on the southeast corner of the building. And then some views inside, and these are similar to previous renderings you've seen. It's what we call the Bulldog Boulevard. This is that north-south spine through the building. This is in the addition looking north on the second floor. You're seeing some natural light from above, classrooms to the left and gymnasium to the right. This is pulled back a little bit more, looking into a new stair that looks down to an extension of the commons, which is approximately where the Bulldog courtyard is currently. And then this is at the bottom of those stairs, looking back in that direction. So you're standing in the existing commons, looking north towards where the current courtyard is. So off to the left is the entrance and administration. Off to the right is the kitchen. And then another view in that area from a slightly different angle, and you get a little view down the new addition on the first floor, which leads itself to the current weight room and gym, and then the new additional classrooms and concessions and student store on the left. And then as you pull down through that hallway, this is that view. So the gym is off to your right and you're looking into the addition. And then this is turning around and looking at it the other way. So you're starting to look back towards the commons. So we're starting to get an idea of structural grid, building systems. That's really what we're doing in the design development phase. We're really starting to understand what it takes to make those elements stand up, heat them and cool them, light them well. And that design vision that was cast architecturally, we're working closely with engineers to support that. And then not to be forgotten about some ideas of environmental graphics and how we start to relocate and also organize all of the accolades and achievements that school district and the students have made over the years. So how do we begin to be able to display things like the Hall of Fame and state trophies? So there's some pockets identified along that first floor where we see more of the public, kind of in the new foyer outside of the gym. So these are beginning to take shape. A few other opportunities along the stair, and then really identifying some of the current pieces you have, like the quilt that the Blackfeet tribe honored the school district with, and finding a home for that, making it front and center. And then continue to think about how this grows too. We could establish it for today, but then the next trophy, where does that go? How does this continue to grow and live into the future? Then athletics, there's not a ton of changes here. Just a reminder that we have a combined soccer and football field, that's identified as field 1 there. It's got a 10-lane track on the oval and the straightaway. There's a set of long jump and triple jump with accommodations for an additional pair. There's a high jump in the, what they call the D zone outside of the end zone on the left. And there could be an additional high jump set up in the end zone on the right. That would be particularly helpful for when middle school is also practicing simultaneously. What's tagged as 4 is a scoreboard. And then what doesn't have a tag, but it's inside the ring, and it's north of the fields in the grass area. There's 2 pole vault pits and runways. And then all of the throws, shot put, discus, and jab are all to the southeast. And there's a practice field, what's identified as item 5 there. And then in between is the field buildings and the bleachers. And then those bleachers are an elevated set of bleachers with an announcer booth at the top of the bleachers. And then you also control lighting and stadium music and scoreboard from up there. And the field building, I think, are the next couple slides, and they just kind of go into a little bit more narrow detail of the program within those buildings. And there are really no changes to report on this time. There's probably a few strategies we can employ for a couple more efficiencies. That's essentially the update. Continues to refine and fine detail. So.
Any comments or questions?
I noticed in front of the building, you're adding 61 or a lot more parking. Are you just taking away some of the grass? Are you taking away any of the CTE? I mean, some of the gardens?
So I'll try to frame this kind of historically where we've been to where we are and to where I think we're going, and it's gaining more clarity as we work our way there. But the city zoning has a requirement for how much parking per student for the school. And during the last edition, the building was actually underparked, and the city allowed that, which is there's always this battle of, we don't want to see the sea of parking, right? And so I thought that was pretty gracious of the city to allow for less parking. So they want to see, as part of this project, to maintain that level of parking, which is great because we know the enrollment continues to grow. There's also where do we park, especially when those sophomores are getting their licenses in the spring. So we've done a parking evaluation of where do teachers park, where students park, senior lot, the independent high school. And then you've got kind of when it's flipped into more of a sporting event kind of mode. When we are displacing parking, which we are to the CTE, we need to replace it. And then at a few moments over the years, the lot has been restriped, and that's probably been mostly for efficiencies and safety purposes. But in doing so, it has reduced the number of parking. So we've lost some stalls over the years. So we need to gain those back and get back up to that level. And so I'm not sure who parks in that front parking lot yet. But that's really the next level of this analysis, is we really need to kind of identify where that is. And if we need to adjust the gates to the rear, we'll do so. I don't think those are going away, just to prevent the through traffic from hold-on parents during pickup. But if we need to adjust it to make sure that we have enough, say, staff parking behind it or independent high school parking behind it, we're prepared to do that.
So what's coming out though? So all these new parking spots can be in the front?
Yeah.
Some of the gardens are coming out,
No,
or just the grass?
no, it might be the site plan view might be the best one to see, Dave, if you wouldn't mind scrolling up right after the schedule. So the 4-way stop, what is that? Pine and Fifth.
Right.
That leads into I don't know, a dozen stalls and then the drop-off loop.
Mhm.
That north edge of that drive would be the north edge of this parking lot. So you're not losing anything in the gardens or the CSE area. So this would all be south of that in the lawn. We wouldn't be losing any of the memorial trees. They would all stay.
And in fact, currently where the loop is would be grassed in form.
Yeah, correct.
So it's backing up some of that parking closer to the street.
Correct.
This just looks more efficient.
Yes.
Versus that loop is wasted space, so.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a question about the athletics. I had a couple of actually, but the athletics one, where the possible sidewalk, possible no sidewalk on the Fourth Street side there.
Yes.
I'm just curious for utilization of it is, so if there's no sidewalk because of bidding or whatnot, is there, will you be able to walk on the outside of the track circumference wise? Like, is it gonna be feasible? I guess is the question. Will it be some kind of surface that's nappy and only appropriate for people?
So there's two alternates that are being built in here. One is the sidewalk on the south edge of Fourth, and that's something that I always get the name of the report wrong, but it's a safe routes report that the city have worked on.
Okay,
And that's like sidewalk connectivity that they would like to see
Okay.
along that edge. And then there's also another item in here that is along the west side of the track, so on the oval. And then it kind of circumnavigates the oval to where the long jumps,
Yes,
long
okay.
and triple jump are. There's a sidewalk next to the rubberized track surface.
okay,
And this would just be a pathway for athletes and coaches to be able to walk to get there without walking on the track itself
Right,
when there's
totally.
no events going on. So if it's not there, it would be grass, and there would still be a concrete curb that would
Okay.
kind of would be the bounds of the track surface.
gotcha.
But if the walking would happen in the grass in that case, if we go by that bit alternate.
Is there a standard now that's changed at all for restrooms? Female versus male?
Yeah, some of the previous board meetings we talked about restrooms.
Okay.
I drug you all through it too much.
Yeah.
The state has their own plumbing code, and it does account for a different ratio for men versus women to really start either
That's
supporting or
crazy.
breaking down the stereotype. I'm sure.
Yeah. So these ratios kind of reflect that.
Yes.
I knew we had talked about that, but cause the picture doesn't match the summary, but, right? And then the summary,
Some of the detailed plans beyond this show the kind of the individual fixture count. You can see that.
Yeah.
The women's fixture count away than men's.
right? So, yeah, great.
Yeah.
I mean, in the words, yeah, the pictures.
I just had one more question that, I don't know if it's a you question or if it's a Kara question, actually. And maybe it's too early to ask this question, but just generally speaking, one of the issues I know has been common spaces, which is beautiful additions like the hub and just the opening, more options of seating to include students to feel comfortable in the building when they're not necessarily in a classroom experience.
Yes.
Is that thinking that potentially like during lunch hour, people could stay and utilize those areas? Or what is the vision of those common spaces when most students actually have access to them? I guess I was just curious, as you guys have had these conversations. Because there's a lot more, which is great, but when do they get to use them?
Sure.
I don't know if that's who's the question that's for.
Yeah, it's a good question, Quincy, and the commons areas that we have now are mostly used during class time.
Okay.
So especially with the block schedule, there'll be instruction in class, there will be group work that extends out into those spaces. Sometimes it's quiet space out there while they're doing something
Okay.
different in the classroom. So I'd say they're mostly used during class or school, little bit at lunchtime. Our upperclassmen currently have access to those in our upstairs commons areas. We use that as a space for them to encourage them to stay on campus and instead of have to race off and go get
Gotcha.
an expensive lunch somewhere.
Right, so it's like the overflow for cafeteria if you're upperclassmen.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
I see what you're saying on that plan. We have our labels flipped. This plan,
That one is.
1 and 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
women's is the larger one. More pictures. Have no fear. We'll get it right.
Any other questions or comments?
Thanks everyone. for all their work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to item D, arbiter sports data privacy agreement. Jacob, come on up. Hi.
So Arbiter Sports was contracted by MHSA to provide scheduling, registration, fee collection for various activities that they use. And so Arbor Sports went ahead and provided the Montana Student Data Privacy Agreement for us to countersign. Just showing they will abide by all of Montana's student data privacy laws. So it's here for your perusal and then hopefully to accept their data agreement. So any questions or?
Was that 5-year term pretty standard?
So that is just for the data agreement. So yes, that's the longest it can be. And that just makes it easier for districts, so we don't have to go back out and get this reapproved every single year. They're just saying they'll abide by that for 5 years, whether we have a contract with them or not. So yes, it's nice when they sign a multi-year agreement, just makes it a lot less work on districts to have to keep up on that.
And are there a lot of companies that do this, or is Arbiter one of the top ones in the West, or how is that
Well,
selected?
I'm not sure how MHSA selected it. They selected it and yes, just said this is the one we're using.
So on your visa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions for Jacob? Or any public comments on this item? So back to the board for further discussion or a motion.
We approve the agreement as presented.
Okay. So moved by Quincy, seconded by Rainey. Everyone in favor?
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Okay. AP Spanish materials.
Greeting from the curriculum department. Nice to see everyone that haven't seen me over the summer. On your board agenda, you have attached for your consideration, an overview of materials for the new AP Spanish class at Whitefish High School. We anticipate approximately 16 students in this class. And in order to ensure they are successful, we want to provide them with appropriate curriculum. So that is what you have before you. Our options are a little limited as because it is AP Spanish, we must abide by the rules of the AP program. Yep, so I really relied on the teacher who participated in the 30 hours of training this summer. We looked at a couple options and then we determined that this one was the best one long-term. There was another one that had workbooks, but that we would have to buy every year, which aren't as sustainable.
Are there any questions for this material?
I just have a question. How do you anticipate the 16? Where does that number come from?
Oh, it's Carrie,
Oh,
a question for Carrie,
Sorry,
actually.
Carrie.
Carrie, I think you do your registration
Is
in
that
the
'cause
spring.
Kids are already registered for AP
Yeah.
Spanish, is that why?
Yep. Yeah, so that's based on the numbers. This is the first year.
Yeah.
Typically those numbers go up. We like to see our class sizes. We're aiming for that 20 to 25 range on average. But some of our specialized classes like this might dip down below that so that we can still offer it for our students. Yeah, so it's,
I thought that was great.
No, I was surprised. Yeah, that's, I was like, how do you even have 16?
it's hard because all the students have to be somewhere with teachers. So if one class is 16, another class is gonna be somewhere else in the building.
Right.
So it's a delicate balance to squeeze all that out, but worked well.
Is there a prereq for this then? Like, have they had to take other Spanish for this up there?
So how many Spanish courses are offered that are not 30 years?
Carrie,
3
3.
Yeah, well, we have Spanish one,
One, two,
two. And we have a 3-4 combo. Some students are in the 4 portion of that. So this is basically potentially replacing that 4. And so those students would still need 1, 2, 3 to get into this level.
No, I was impressed with that number. I was just not sure where it came from, since it's a new course, like how did they?
Yeah.
They could.
Yeah.
They're brave signing up without even a coach to know what they're doing. Yeah, it's so much trust.
As a side note, because I had the pre-AP English teacher say, hey, are all my materials ordered? And I was like, oh, let me check it. And oh, no, I need to do that. And because we were offering so many AP classes, I didn't have to pay for her pre-AP class. I was like, Fish High School.
AP Spanish a common AP class that's offered in? Okay.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, as far as foreign language.
Well, if it replaces 4 years, I know in a lot of bigger schools, they offer 4 full years of a language. So,
Yeah. Any other questions or? Or any public comment on this item? No. It's back to the board for a motion or further discussion.
I move we accept this, the AP Spanish textbook as presented. I'll second.
Moved by Jerry, seconded by Rainey, all in favor? Anybody? You have thanks, Lisa. Okay. So item F is a new and revised policy, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, with Mr. Means and Via as well. This is here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Via. Hi, Via.
Yeah, we're Bia on the phone, and she's joined us from, of course, Calico Law to help engage in this discussion regarding the policies for 1,000 to 3,000. It's quite a few to go through here tonight, but these have been reviewed by trustees Hanson, Boxage, and Clark in our committee meeting, in our policy committee. We met 2 times for quite some time reviewing these policies and the guidance provided by Calico Law, and then we were bringing these to you for consideration this evening. First, we'll go through this 1,000 and 3,000 survey series, and 2 through 3,000 series, and then the next agenda item is the 4,000 and 5,000 and 7,000 and 8,000 series of policies to look at. Again, Via Caldas here, she can touch on each one of these. There's also a guidance memo that I think all of you have had access to as well, that she's provided, and it's on this document. And these, again, these have been reviewed by the committee for your consideration this evening. But I can turn it over to Bia so she can touch on each of the policies we go through.
Okay. And Dave, is my understanding you guys are choosing not to adopt a 4332, correct? That's the flag. That's the flag policy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. Okay, so I'll just start with the new policy that you have to consider that, and as you know, we had a pretty active legislative session, which that seems to be the new norm for us. But policy 3655, is it okay if I do them according to the memo as opposed to doing them? Let me back up. How would you like me to do this? According to the memo or according to numerically in your policy manual?
Well, we have them presented numerically as an attachment.
That's fine. Okay. Yep. That's totally fine. Okay. So I'll start then with policy 1111. And this was just a change that this is a required policy on what the election law is in the state of Montana for trustees. And it's a change that reflects the candidate filing deadline that, and when you can withdraw. And it was House Bill 406. And they have to be called at least 145 days now before the regular election, but you can still amend up to 70 days prior. And then you have 70 days to call a special election. And then ballot certification obviously has to occur not less than 40 days before the election. So the changes that were made to your policy just reflect those changes in the law. Does anyone have any questions about that one?
And did that come up to try to make them match something else or like?
No,
Where's the mark
yeah.
on that looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it. They tinker with the election stuff all the time, and I'm not quite sure why. But I think that they're trying to do in their minds it gives people a little bit more flexibility. So, but does it actually help? No.
Doesn't it say that 6 months before will decide? I mean, it can confirm by 3 months before. So do we then? Does the school district put out notices somewhere about that? Like in the.
Yeah.
Or in articles?
Yeah.
In the website.
Yeah, so your clerk is going to get new guidance from MASBO, and Lucy will get that. She's probably already gotten it, but MASBO will send out an election guide for school district business officials, and it just changes it. So I mean, it used to be that you just mean, obviously, if you look at your prior policy, the deadlines were far shorter. So Lucy's
Right.
gonna have an obligation to post notices as we're required to do much earlier than normal. It's going to be a big change though. So I think one of the issues that districts are struggling with is how do we tell members of the public this? Because I don't know how many people are hanging out on your Zoom tonight, but chances are people aren't going to know this. So most districts are looking at saying at the beginning of the school year, and it's not an annual notice issue, but just making sure that we put out something, whether it's on your website or in a newsletter to parents, just saying, by the way, you know, the election deadlines have changed substantially. For more information, come here. And then they'll have a link to the policy, which gives them guidance about how long in advance we're going to be doing things.
Well, what about the general public though? I mean, school board.
Well, yeah. So that will be again, you know, the general public doesn't see our annual notices. What they are going to see though are hopefully the legal notices that Lucy has to post. And frankly, this is something for who does your election? Is your county election? Let me back up. Are your elections run through the county or run through the school?
Through the county.
Okay, so yeah, the county, the other election deadlines change besides just schools. So counties have been putting together informational materials for members of the public as well. I don't know where your county is particularly on this, but I do know just from looking at MACO, that's the Montana Association of Counties, they have been putting together information, just letting folks know that a lot of election deadlines have changed. So hopefully that's how the information gets out. The board could always choose to say, you know, we want to go the extra mile. Maybe we're gonna ask a newspaper reporter to come in and do maybe an interview with Lucy, or you can do it with anybody, you know, any member of the board or Dave, anybody that you want, just to say, you know, hey, general public, this is changing for us. That's not, yeah, it's not something you guys have to. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to touch on one thing, and that is just that how the format here is, it's our current policy first, so you can see that. And then the next policy is the revision, revised proposal, and the last one is the clean top. That's the format we're following through. Sorry about that, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just saying the board can make, you know, and there's nothing wrong with ever taking the high road and saying we're going to provide as much information as humanly possible. So you guys could, and you don't have to do it tonight because it's not actually on the agenda, but you could direct Lucy at a subsequent meeting to either like contact the press or figure out how are we going to get more information to the public at large about our elections. I'd step in with and find out what Flathead County is doing too, because we don't want to necessarily duplicate what they're doing, but perhaps we're all on the same page. Any more questions about that one?
No.
Okay. Okay, 2100. So this is a policy that created a new commemorative holiday, and it's going to be called Freedom Week. And it is designed to provide information to your students about what they call commemorative holidays. These are things that are by statute. And so we had to amend the policy under your commemorative holidays to talk about that we're adding Freedom Week. And then the superintendent develops appropriate exercises. There's no guidance really on what that looks like. You're going to do it probably the same way you do for all the other commemorative holidays that you're required, just to make sure your student body is aware that these are significant days. And Freedom Week in particular is meant to educate students about the founding of the United States and the values on which the United States were founded. That's not defined, so God knows there's going to be a wide variety across the state of what that looks like. Keep in mind that American Indian Heritage Day is also the fourth Friday in September. It's going to hit at the same time as Freedom Week, which is designated as the last full week in September. You'll notice all of other commemorative holidays are just a day. So we have some more stuff in there. So what administrators have to do is to figure out how do we, you know, wrap in essentially, it can be American Revolution, it can be anything like that, just to let students know how the United States was founded. And then we had to add Montana Pioneer Day as well, which caused a lot of confusion about what we were talking about. I did not know. I did not know what Pioneer Day was. Everyone learned a little bit about it. So we're making it clear it's Montana Pioneer Day, not the Pioneer Day that's associated with a particular religion. So does anyone have any questions about that one? Okay. 2132. This policy was amended to reflect the changes in House Bill 599. I'm just going to speed up to that real quick. This is again going to be one of those policies that I'm going to lump into the parental rights kind of theme that we saw in the last couple legislative sessions. And this one was a little bit of a cleanup bill to a degree, because in the prior legislative session, they'd indicated that you could opt your kid out of basically anything that required gathering of data. And what that did was mess up the state's data collection that they use for determining, for example, how many special ed students your district has. The original bill passed in 2023 was a disaster. This version of it is a little bit better. What it says is that except for information necessary and essential for establishing a student's educational record or for demographic survey information, parents still have the right to opt their child out of any personal analysis, evaluation, survey, etc., or opt the child into anything that requires students' personally identifiable information. So they make that distinction. If there's not personally identifiable information, parents can opt their child out. If there is personally identifiable information, parents have to opt their child in. Generally, districts don't permit surveys, etc., that talk about personally identifiable information anyways. So I don't think this is going to be a huge change for you. Dave, jump in if I'm talking out of school here, but I don't think this will be a huge change for you.
No.
Okay. Okay. Any questions about that one? Okay, marching on, 2135. Again, another somewhat cleanup bill, human sexuality instruction and identity instruction. As you know, the old Senate Bill 99 defined human sexuality instruction so broadly that we were required to send out notices if Romeo and Juliet was on the curriculum, or any book that talked about any kind of relationship, essentially, triggered these obligations. So they have actually made this a lot easier. Is that now you only have to give, one, parents can opt their kid out of sex ed, which has always been the case in Montana. That's not new, but they made a point of saying it again. And then they added some language that talks about what they define as identity instruction, which means instruction that has the goal or purpose of studying, exploring, or informing students about gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation. I'm not aware of any school actually that has instruction that has its goal or purpose of studying gender identity, expression, or sexual orientation. But they did also look at changing the definition of human sexuality instruction, which is, again, very helpful in this regard. It's instruction that has the goal or purpose of studying, exploring, or informing students about human sexuality topics. Again, that's sex ed, essentially. Everything else, there might be a peripheral reference to it, but the goal of the instruction is not to study, explore, or inform students about human sexuality, pretty much except for sex ed. We still have to give notice to parents in advance and give them the opportunity to review the curriculum if you did have a course like that, which, again, you have sex ed, but I don't think you have any courses that fit under the gender identity language. And then they did change the notice requirements. This is going to be an issue for your admin and your teachers. Your admin need to inform your teachers so that they can let the admin know, like, hey, within this time period, I'm going to have something coming up that's going to trigger a notice, because those notices come from admin, not the teachers. So it used to be at least 48 hours in advance. Now it's 5 school days, but not more than 14 school days prior to holding an event or assembly, or first introducing material for instructional use that's going to fall under any of the other, whether gender identity or sexual instruction. And the good thing is no more notices besides that initial notices are necessary. So any questions about that one?
I just had a question about the requirement for parental guardian written permission to allow a child to attend a sexual identity instruction, do we currently have them opt in? Like, that seems worded weird to me. So do you have to opt in as well as opt out? How am I reading that?
Okay, so tell me which part exactly.
Page, 24 on my, let's see if you go.
What page on the policy is on the red line version?
Red line version. Let's see. Is there a page number?
Is it on is it on the first page or of the policy, the second page of the
Uh,
policy?
Second.
It's on the second, yeah, second
Okay.
page.
Okay,
Yeah, right there. So it says the require, right there, where you're,
Requirements.
yeah,
Permission
to allow a child.
to attend.
Written
Identity
permission to
instruction.
allow them to attend, so you have to opt in? Is that what that means? Versus just opting out with like a,
It looks like
So-
that.
yeah, so what it says is that this is the notice that you give. So you have to give them notice that includes what the course is, that their child essentially enrolled in this course, or there's lessons on human sexuality instruction or identity instruction. And then it goes through, and the reason this, I mean, it is worded kind of goofy, but the statute is worded goofy, so we can't vary too far from it. So when
No,
we're
I
talking about, okay, go ahead, sorry.
so in theory, you'll get a slip home and then you check the box if you're the parent, opt in, opt out versus. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Correct.
yes,
Yes, if it-
practice, what that looks like.
If it's human sexuality instruction, you're opting out. If it's gender identity, you got to opt in.
Oh, good lord, okay, got it.
I know, it's going to be confusing, but the good thing is,
Got it.
you guys don't have any gender identity instruction,
Got
so
it.
I'm not
Okay.
worried about that part.
Sorry, thanks for clarifying, I was confused.
That's okay. It's not, and believe me, that some of these laws, I had to go back and listen to the actual recording of the legislators because none of it made sense.
Okay,
And that's kind of, that's where we're,
okay, thanks, sorry, I was like, it's.
okay, no problem.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Okay, 2150 is suicide awareness and prevention. The goofy part about this one is that as with the prior law, it states that suicide prevention programs should be consistent with federal law and guidance provided by OPI. OPI hasn't really gotten there yet. You guys have you guys have a program already in place. So the change to this policy essentially is that your employees work directly with students are required to participate in a minimum now of 2 hours. It used to be 1 hour. I'm sorry, it used to be 2 hours. Now it's 1 hour of training every 3 years instead of every 5 years. The district personnel can't be charged to attend. It gets wrapped into PIR generally. And then it say may be delivered in person or through video conference, self-study, or designated materials, or self-review of online modules approved by the district. So it gives the district more flexibility of how to ensure our staff are getting trained. And Dave, you guys already have a program, right?
Yeah, we go above and beyond those hours, so.
Yeah, okay, so
Fine.
you're fine. Yeah, this is just what's required in the actual policy itself. Okay.
So 2135 doesn't have a revision date?
They aren't revised until the board approves them.
Oh, but the other ones have revision dates.
Previous ones, right?
Well, like the suicide awareness revised on 8/12/25.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's already there.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
So
well, that would be the date of the revision if it's approved this evening. Yeah.
So that's what I thought. So, okay, so that revision date will be added. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Okay, 2165 is what's called early literacy. Now it's just early targeted intervention programs. And you guys have made some alterations to this policy based on what you're doing. But what they did was they added math into this. And then you have the ability to go through and delete those portions that don't apply to you if they're not applying to you. And Dave, you can chime in about like I think it's the home-based program you guys are not doing. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're not offering that program right now.
Yeah.
We just checked.
Okay, so that's fine. Yep. So you just, you pull it out, that's fine. And the rest of it is just basically changes to demonstrate that you are, or that math is now part of that program.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's an easy one. Okay, jumping up now to 2334. Release time for religious instruction. So this policy existed prior to this legislative session. And some of the changes don't necessarily make sense because we were already doing this, but it did say the district may provide religious instruction release time. Now says shall, so you're required to do it of up to 1 hour per week. So obviously the parents have to request it. Then the question comes into for it's formal instruction, not for church services necessarily or activities. So if it's a field trip for your church group, no, that's not a release time. I mean, a parent can still excuse their kid technically, but it's not in the required release. So parents have to request it in writing. They renew it annually. But if the kids are changing classes at semester or quarter, they have to re-up it for that too. And the handbook will reflect this as well. So the law also said that you could provide credit to religious instruction. I don't know any schools that are doing that. And at this point, the recommendation would be, please don't, because that means we're trying to evaluate their religious programs. And God forbid you say yes to one and no to another. We're going to be in a world of trouble. So that's that policy. Anyone have any questions about that?
Hey, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's Elizabeth. I'm wondering if can we go through, like, can we list each policy and then see if anyone has a question about it? And
Yeah, that'd be
let's- can
great.
we maybe be past, does that sound good to everybody?
Oh,
Sure.
that would be
So-
lovely. Thank you.
Okay, let's do that. I think it's,
Okay.
as we go through them, I think, because we all had them ahead of time and had your great memo to read.
Awesome. Okay.
So maybe we
Oh.
can just start touching it, and then if someone has a
Yep.
question, we'll go into it.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
That is awesome. Any questions about 2450?
No.
2510.
2510,
That's
27. 10 or 24.
she said it quietly, 2510 is the next one.
Yeah, so we already talked about 24.
We didn't talk, oh, it's 2410. High school graduation.
Well, it went 2450,
I
and then I have 2510.
yeah.
I'm looking at that.
I think there's
now,
some
sorry.
changes to 2410,
So
so
that's-
I think that's
There
why.
yeah,
Yeah,
2410 is
we'll
in
just-
here.
Yeah.
Well, there are some changes.
There are changes.
There are changes
Oh,
for
that's-
2410.
Changes to 2410 via, but they're minor because we are now requiring 23 units of graduation for class 2008 and beyond.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sorry, and that wasn't that was you guys. That's why it wasn't
That
part of
was
my
us. Yeah, okay.
spiel. Yeah. Okay.
So now we're to
Okay, so-
2510.
Gotcha. Oh, around
Okay. Yeah. So now we're at 2510. Wait, is that suicide awareness again?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're in the 3000s. So are we good to go to the 3000s?
So we have 2450 and mine just jumps to 3110.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
that's where
Yep.
we are.
Yep, that's where we're at. Yeah.
Not 2510.
And so
That's your.
yeah, so 3110 is just entrance placement and transfer. Any questions about that one?
Not-
All righty. Then 3141, which that's out of district attendance. That's a convoluted one. I don't know. There's a separate memo on that one. So does anyone want to talk about that?
No.
Well, I would like to highlight the board just real quickly that what we're changing in that policy, the out of district one, right?
Yep.
Are the dates.
Yeah, are the dates that we are considering out of district applications. To June, for the June board meeting, we'll consider out of district applications, August board meeting, and the January board meeting. In addition, we will consider applications submitted for renewal applications, and we'll accept those applications April 15th, so those would be up for consideration in May. So, but for all other out of district applications, it'd be 3 times per year, June, August, and January. That's the change that's
So we're not doing a monthly anymore.
correct.
That was creating havoc.
So, and that's 3141.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 32. Anyone have any questions about 3210? Just narrowing homeschool participation and activities.
Nope.
Okay. Alrighty, 32-35 video surveillance. Any thoughts?
My only question about that one is that, probably just because I have a swimmer, is that there's super strict rules on safe sport with swimming. About what can be videoed and stuff, so does that just, it doesn't have to be mentioned in this policy, it's just.
It does not. Yeah,
Okay,
it does not.
that's good.
We'll follow whatever particular rules any other organizations have in place.
Gotcha.
Montana had previously passed a law saying you couldn't video or audio record anyone at any time. And that
Right.
meant that like you couldn't record the Christmas program for grandparents. It was just craziness. So
Got it.
okay.
Just
Yep.
clear.
All righty. Yep. 33. Do you guys 3310? Student discipline. Any questions about that? You're just changing some language regarding plagiarism. Just adding AI in there.
Right. Yeah, it's fine.
All right, then we're moving up to 3410. Any questions? Okay. Then we're in the 4000s. We're moving along. Oh no, wait, that can't be right. No, you guys have a lot more in the 3000s. Okay. 3416. Administration of medication. Any questions? Okay.
Actually, if we go back, sorry, just for a minute to 3410.
Sure.
Physical therapist over there. Seems like scoliosis being so kind of fallen by the wayside. I'm wondering why those are still included.
It's statutory.
Oh,
But it says may include but not limited to. So actually, this is what you can screen for. If your district's not doing it and you don't want it in the policy, you can always remove it.
so does that get done here? Does the school nurse screen? We do.
No, we do not.
Middle schoolers?
No.
So do we want it in the policy? Or-
It's a may, like she said, but
May.
we could remove it too.
I'm just.
Yeah. This doesn't bind you to do anything.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so then 3416 is administration of medication. Again, just adding epinephrine nasal spray. And then albuterol. It's just giving us more options with medication for stock meds. Anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay. All righty. And then moving on, we are now at 3612. The always controversial internet policies. Again, this is adding AI stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Any concerns or thoughts about that?
No.
Okay. And 3630 is your cell phones and other equipment. Just a quick change in there. Any thoughts about that? Okay. 3655, student protection. New policy. The one thing this is doing, I will tell you, this came up today, is that if you have school to work programs, the problem that we have with this policy is that it requires districts to get fingerprint background checks for anyone, whether they're an employee or not, if they're going to have unsupervised access to kids. But we can't unless they are listed as a school volunteer and treated as a volunteer under our policies, we legally can't fingerprint background check them. So if you have school to work programs, unless we have a school employee going along to chaperone, we're between a rock and a hard place because we can't legally require a background check and we can't legally send the kids there anymore. So they're supposedly making changes to our state law, but they haven't done it yet. So that's just so you guys know that's out there as a potential concern.
So then does this put the school to work program on hold?
Well, not necessarily. So we do have the option of going to the individuals and asking them if they would be interested in submitting to a background check.
Right.
I will tell you, so far, and a couple districts have already had to cross this bridge. We haven't had too many people say no, but it might eliminate some folks from your school to work program. But we do have to go out and ask them. They have to voluntarily go to the police station, ask to be fingerprinted, ask to get a copy of that, and then voluntarily give it to us. It's gonna squash some of the school to work program stuff, to be honest.
So this includes things like internships and like how the high school gets to go to.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if you had to be, like, if the, like, say, example, Dr. Kitchen. Or myself, I have to be fingerprinted and background checked for my job anyway. If that would count.
It doesn't under the way that our current law is drafted. Again, we're hoping that they change that. They can change the administrative rule pretty quickly, and they know this is out there now. So I'm hoping that they get on it. There's another issue of sharing, like, so there isn't a mechanism. There used to be a mechanism to share background reports if they were within a certain period of time. That doesn't exist in the law anymore. So what we are telling people to do as a fail-safe is when you're talking about internships, like if you're going to, say, the hospital. Does anyone here, any of you guys work at the hospital?
I do, yes.
Okay, is everyone fingerprint background checked? Or like if someone's doing an internship with a doc, are they fingerprint background? Are the docs fingerprint background checked? Or okay, so then the hospital, Logan could just certify all of our employees are fingerprint background checked, and then
Yeah,
we're
that's what I
okay.
was curious, like, if I already have to do it and I am, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Also-
So we will accept the certification. It's just the kind of the mom and pop shops that have allowed like school to work stuff in the past that have been wonderful for our kids. That's going to be the problem.
Yeah.
It's a little loose legislative language, which we've been doing this now for about 5 years, so not new, but a bummer. Okay, that moves us into the 4,000s. If everyone's ready.
Yeah,
Right.
that can item number.
Okay.
So we need to ask for public.
Okay.
Oh,
Hold
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
yeah, we have
Yeah.
to.
Just the one agenda item,
Got it.
first one.
Yeah, so is there any public comment on the 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 policy changes? Okay, oh,
I don't know if I can ask this question, but part of those policies were about students wanting to come into the Whitefish School District. Is there you were talking about they're 3 times a year now, not every month, otherwise it was creating habit. What about students wanting to go out of the district? And this ties to a question I have about the budget. How much money the school district spends on tuition for kids leaving the school district or being serviced by other schools? Does that require an approval of any sort, or I know this is policy changes, that's why it's kind of not relevant, but it's tied to something that was talked about, and I don't know if it's gonna come up somewhere else later.
So I can tell you that I can answer that pretty quickly. They changed the law in 2023 to now permit parents to essentially choose where their kids go to school. So they can choose. If you're a Whitefish kid that chooses to go to Columbia Falls, for example, they can do that. Columbia Falls is going to have a similar policy to yours that has mainly procedural issues that parents have to look at. One of them is going to be the application deadline, obviously, but they've really opened up now. It's parental choice for where kids go to school is definitely a priority of the legislature. So that's what's reflected in that policy. Your school district doesn't have to give permission for a student to go somewhere else. If the other district accepts them pursuant to their policy, we will owe tuition. Regular ed tuition and special ed tuition are set by statute or by rule. And I can't tell you what you paid last year, but I bet Dave or Lucy could.
Yeah, we're trying to think, we're in our public comment phase, so we.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's.
Okay, after I rail on you guys, yeah,
wanted to
sorry.
Procedurally is explain to you that as the trustees or us, we can't respond to questions necessarily during public comment.
That's why I started, I don't know if I can ask.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I get bored. I am so sorry. As much as I tell everyone, don't do it. Okay.
Okay, so we back to the board, and we're gonna move on to item number G, letter G, with Bia.
Okay, are we voting on that?
Oh, I'm sorry,
We have to vote.
we have to vote.
Yeah.
And any
Yeah.
further discussion?
So we have to vote to accept the changes. Is that
Yes,
what we're?
yes.
Okay, that was it.
The proposed,
I'm back. Okay, so any further discussion with the board on the policies that we went over. Is there a motion?
I move we accept policies 1,000 to 3,000 as presented.
I second.
Okay, motion by Jerry, seconded by Quincy, all in favor. Everybody. Okay, now we can move on to G with BS, so the 4,000, 5,000 and 7,000 and 8,000 revised policy changes.
Okay, start with 4520. Any questions? This is cooperative programs with other districts. The minor change to reflect the law.
Right.
Okay, alrighty. 5120, hiring process and criteria. So again, you guys have your own policy, just a change that allows, or just says you have to have verification that they're authorized to work in the US. You already do this. It's not a change for you. Okay. Alrighty, that takes us up to 5122, criminal background investigations. Any questions? Okay. Again, just a change to reflect the law. If there's no questions, that takes us up to 5250, non-renewal of employment, dismissal from employment. Are you guys, I mean, yeah, okay. That is literally a legal reference. Anyone have any issues?
No.
Okay, excellent. 5460. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you guys. No, keep going, sorry.
Okay, yep, 5460, electronic resources and social networking, the adult version of the kid policy we just had. Same issue with AI. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay, now we're into the 7,000s, financial management. 7320 is your purchasing policy. It just added one sentence in there giving you the applicable provisions from the Montana Procurement Act. So it gives you a little flexibility with your purchasing under Montana law. So okay. That takes us up to 7530, which is procurement of supplies or services, which is the kind of complementary policy, just saying that you're adopting all applicable provisions of the Procurement Act. Okay. 8111 is transportation of students with disabilities. Let's see, anyone have any questions about that? Pretty much statutory. Okay, and then 8450 are AEDs. Again, just changes to the law. I assume you guys have AEDs.
Yes.
Okay.
I did have,
All right.
I actually have a question about it though, that, do we, and then maybe this is a Lisa question or a Dave question, but, are they trained on the AEDs yearly? I know they do CPR training, but are they like in the building, how you do like a code red or, like a fire drill? Do you do an AED drill?
The nurses do. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Whoever, like, that's just a general question to.
The nurses do training every year on some of the health protocols and related, and I think AED is included in that, as well as it's in a safe schools training that occurs every year.
So is there always one present each school? And that's where you're gonna get
Yes.
liability.
So we have one in
Or an
school.
AED. Yeah, what if they're on vacation?
Well, that's what I was curious. Is it, you mean the nurses get trained or the staff gets trained every
No.
year?
Staff.
Yeah,
All the staff.
that's what I
all
was,
the
I think
teachers.
she.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's an annual training,
Gotcha.
and it's AED is included within that training.
But is that just the CPR training on how to use AED, or is it like, here's your AEDs located, go get it and do like a mock drill in the cafeteria or something?
I believe the AED training is reviewed in a staff, but Sarah, would you, I don't know how you would call them.
Yeah, I can. So it is a portion now of our CPR training. So we do test out on that, both with the American Heart Association course and then the test out, and those are every 2 years. The vast majority of our staff are CPR trained. And then there is a nurses meeting with all staff at the beginning of the year, and there are a handful of students who may for some reason carry some of those devices on their person, and we're trained specifically in that particular student's what they might be carrying. In those beginning of the year meetings, if I might not be the right person to say that, but at least that's what I recall and what they've continued to do since I've been out of classroom too.
No, thanks for clarifying. I wasn't sure how that practice.
And it was last year added to the annex, so there is one even out at the annex, so all of our buildings have access to those AEDs.
Thanks for clarifying. Just want to make sure we were in compliance with that.
And we travel with them, right? Our sports
Yeah.
teams are traveling.
We were just talking, middle school has 4, 2 permit and 2 mobile. Hearing and
Same,
or do you have 5 with it?
well, the annexes, yeah. That would be considered 5 for us, but
We have 2, I don't think we have travel ones, but we don't.
This sports bags travel with them, yeah.
Thanks, just curious. That's it. Thanks. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, that's the end of the policy.
Hard to believe, but it's all.
Yeah. Is there any public comment on item G? Back to the board for further discussion or a motion.
I move we accept. The new revised policies 4,000 through 8,000. I'll second that.
Moved by Rainey, seconded by Jerry, all in favor? Everybody. Okay, thank you, Bia.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Have a
You
good
too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so strategic plan revision with Mr. Means.
Okay. This is also related to some of the policy changes that we just reviewed. As a part of your strategic plan, you just define things related to out-of-district attendance, and that is item D in our last goal. So if you look at the strategic plan, it says we will maintain and improve our facilities to meet the current needs of our students and staff community. I previously said something very similar to this. District will annually review and update its out-of-district enrollment policy and procedures to ensure that it meets the needs of our enrolled students by not exceeding 87% of the accreditation cap. So that's ensuring that we don't go over our accreditation numbers at each grade level, right? Or in core academic classes at a grade level. So, but in addition to that, we needed to add some language because there are limits for programs in special education as well. And that is in the new law that the legislature passed as well. So you can see these next few sentences describe that out of students where there are no extenuating circumstances at the request of a parent or guardian in the following special education programs maintained by the district that would result in exceeding the following capacities would negatively impact the district's ability to serve the students' programs. It lists these programs: life skills, extended resource, and structured learning, and preschool. So there's 4 different programs in our district, special education programs that have limits. And so to ensure that the district will be able to continue to positively impact student learning for enrolled students, district will limit the approval of out-of-district student applications where there are no extenuating circumstances, when there are less than 4 available spaces out of the 15 spaces in each of those programs listed. Okay. So it's a lot of language, but that was what's recommended to be added to our strategic plan related to out-of-district attendance regarding those programs and grade levels.
Any questions? Yeah. Is the term extenuating circumstances defined somewhere?
In policy that we just went review, there is some language related to extenuating
That defines
circumstances.
what doesn't
Yeah.
it?
There's some definition related to that in that policy. Because out of district enrollment is requirement unless they meet certain. certain criteria.
Any other questions? Is there any public comment? Back to the board for further discussion or a motion.
I move we accept the changes to our strategic plan as presented.
I'll second it.
Moved by Jerry, seconded by Rainey, all in favor. Everybody. Okay, oh, now it's my turn. Okay, I think everybody, moving into I is the, MTSBA membership electronic poll. And hopefully you saw the attachments, are able to read through. And so essentially, I think Lucy's gonna be our scribe, and so we just have to go through as the four of us, and essentially, fill out the survey. Did everyone have a chance to? Does anyone have any questions about the survey? Okay. So I think we'll just, start with number one.
Name of the district.
Name of the district, which I'm sure Lucy did. She did it, okay. The name of the individual who is submitting this electronic vote. Okay, Lucy, okay. So please indicate whether your school board supports or opposes the MTSBA principles and guidelines as presented. Do we approve, oppose, or abstain from voting on this issue?
I move that we vote to approve.
I approve, I agree.
And do we need to like vote
Do we
on this?
each one, or can we just come to a consensus and
Yeah,
select which one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so 3, we're voting approve.
Approve.
Okay. Number 4, please indicate whether your school board supports or opposes the foundational elements of MTSBA's organizational DNA as presented. Do we approve? Yes. Yes, we approve. Number 5, please indicate whether your school district supports or opposes the FY 27 dues revenue estimate. Note you are not voting on your district's dues, rather this is the dues revenue estimate that is calculated pursuant to the member adopted MTSBA bylaws. We approve.
Yes,
We approve.
Yeah. Gonna go on for a look again.
Number 6, we indicate whether your school board supports or opposes the nomination of Rick Cummings as president-elect. Approve.
Yes.
We approve, okay. And number 7, do we approve of the MTSBA vice president as Jennifer Hoffman?
Yes,
We approve.
we approve.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm entering your name, Elizabeth, on line number.
Okay. Just 1 T.
Just.
Okay.
I'm submitting now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, it's back to Lucy on J is the, Lucy Shea on number J is the budget for the 2025-2026 school year.
Do we need to ask for public comment on this?
We do ask for public, okay. Is there, I'll go back, sorry. Is there any public comment on the MTSBA electronic poll? Okay. So now we are safe to move on to J. Okay. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you. 2025-26 budget. I recommend you open the attachment, so we can follow, in case you have any questions. So this is the second time you're seeing it. Last month, the preliminary version was presented. This is the final version. I did make a couple of minor changes, but I'll exactly where to find them. So presented for your consideration is the final budget for the 25-26 school year in the total amount of $594,467. Budget represents an increase of approximately 3.8 million, or 14% compared to last year. And I think page 11 is the best page. Look at this. Let me know about page 11 PDF, page 11 is where that one sheet summary is. The most significant increase is in debt service fund number 250. The budget for this fund has increased by about 2.2 million as a result of the passage to the high school bond. This amount represents approximately 59% of the total budget increase for the whole district. So of that 3.8 million increase, 2.2 is just to pay for the bond.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the upcoming year 25-26, because this is the first year of the 20-year bond, we will be paying interest only, no principal, and principal payments will only kick in year 2. Please note that I have updated some of the budget amounts from the preliminary budget presented last month. Specifically, it's the flexibility and debt service funds. I updated those budget amounts to better reflect our financial needs. Again, page 11 is where you can find those changes. You can see there are some cells framed in green color, and that's to draw your attention to the difference between the preliminary and the final budget numbers. I also like to draw your attention to page 12, and this is really my favorite page. So if there's no other page that you look at out of that 100-page document, this page really summarizes it all. It tells us what the budget is and how will we pay for it. You can see all the revenue sources that make the budget happen. So for example, if we look at the elementary general fund 101, we see that our budgeted expenses, which are listed on the right-hand side, are $11.7 million. We know we will spend about 11.7 million. Where will the money come from? From local property tax, state dollars, out of district tuition, and interest income, for example. And this is a nice overview of how much we'll spend, where the money will come from. I think my favorite page, as I said. So $30.5 million. Any questions?
I just always have to clarify, because the tuition thing, so that
Yeah.
is based on October's, or no, you just answered the question. Where, how did we do that? Out district tuition?
So the tuition fund
Yeah.
is different than the enrollment count
Okay.
that we do in October and February. That count drives general fund budget.
Oh.
And I know this is very confusing.
Okay.
Because you think, no, tuition is tuition, nothing, okay, not really. The tuition fund is mainly for 2 things: special education expenditures.
Okay.
And paying tuition to other districts for Whitefish students going to those other districts.
Okay.
So that has, did it answer your question?
Yep, so those are the 2 that are included in tuition as the subset of special ed.
Yes.
Although on this chart, out of district tuition is listed under general fund, not under tuition.
And that's the revenue piece.
That's what's coming to us.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Okay,
When we send Whitefish kids to other districts.
right.
We pay that expense out of the tuition fund, which
Okay.
is number 113
Yeah,
and 213.
okay,
But also, we accept other kids who don't live in Whitefish to attend Whitefish. So we also collect money at the
okay, so
same
that's
time.
what we collect.
So what we collect goes into the general fund. What we pay out comes out of the tuition.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Thank you.
Good
That confuses
questions.
me every year.
These are great questions. The out of district tuition is, it's pretty convoluted. This is how it was set up by the legislature as far as revenues and expenditures flow. Okay. Any other questions for Lucy?
Lucy, I actually. Right now to limit the budget part, because I think it would be perfect, because you did it, but, where do we receive any federal funds?
We do receive federal funds, but they go into a different fund. Those federal funds are deposited into miscellaneous fund number 115 and 215, which are not included in this budget, and that is because you, the board, are obliged to adopt an official budget only for funds that are supported by local taxpayers.
Okay.
Great question, but that also,
That's good.
could maybe next year. We could expand this budget document. And say, pages X, Y, and Z are showing our federal monies. Absolutely, that could also complete the whole picture.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions for Lucy?
No, I was just gonna, make a comment. Yeah. Thanks, Lucy.
Is there public comment on the 2025-2026 budget?
I have a question, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I can ask it.
Yeah, we unfortunately just can't respond to questions.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can answer.
The question is, how many students in Whitefish go out of district? That $2 million between those two tuition line items, how many students is that paying for? And if you can't answer, that's fine, we can do it after, but it's a curiosity, because it seems like quite a lot of money.
Thank you. Back to the.
Can I ask Lucy a question? And this might help with that. Is it true, Lucy, that we get more students in than we send out?
That is correct. We get more money in revenues for out of district students than what we pay out.
That perhaps will clarify some things.
And the tuition fund also, a huge part of that is special education expenses. So the $2 million is not for out of district students. The majority of that is special education. So we're gonna back to the board for any more clarifying questions or any motion.
How would we accept the budget as presented? A second.
Moved by Rainey and seconded by Quincy. All in favor? That's everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy, for another
Yeah.
fine job
Yes.
and for answering our sometimes silly questions.
They're not silly at all.
I feel like I ask the same question every year.
I'll ask you.
Okay.
I'm like, she's
told me.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we will move on to K, which is a WEP donation, and it's back to Lucy. WEP donation presented for your approval is a donation check in the amount of $88,000 received from the Whitefish Education Foundation. This money was fundraised by WEP as part of their Make Music Resonate campaign. The funds are earmarked for purchases of musical instruments. Are any questions? Any public comment on the web donation? Back to the board for further discussion or a motion.
I move we accept the check.
I said it.
It's moved by Jerry and seconded by Brady. All in favor? That's everybody.
We must be getting up to almost $200,000
Yes.
in
Yes,
in
we
that fund, so they're really getting new instruments.
Pretty much.
Okay, moving into L, recommendations for hire, but Mr. Needs.
So presented for your consideration and approval of the recommendations for hire. You have one guest teacher substitute listed there. And then in the document, we have listed positions or for a recommendation for hire for assistant football coach, all down special education paraeducator, assistant girls soccer coach, Title I reading and math teacher, and a speech language pathologist, and assistant cultural coach. Any questions?
But I really like the new format. It's very easy to see.
And hopefully that provides a little bit more information, a little bit easier to follow too, and
Great.
Any public comment? Back to the board for a motion or further discussion.
I was just curious, I do like the new format a lot, I was just curious, since it is hard in the summer, were you able to get, has it been okay to have people to do the interviews and stuff, or has it been challenging to hire in the summer?
I would say it's hard to get, you know,
Yeah.
the team together. I think it's not super easy for folks, but it's coming together.
It's worked out okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Do we
working.
have a lot of open positions as we look at fall? It's very soon.
We have some more recommendations to come to you in the future meetings here, coming up. Because meetings have just been held, so I think we're filling most positions.
Okay.
But few long-term sub or guest teacher positions we need to fill. I think that's the remaining positions.
So all of our classrooms are full and our special ed are full.
Okay.
And when we approve it as.
I'll second.
Moved by Quincy, seconded by Jerry, all in favor? It's everybody. Okay, item M, out of district students with Mr. Means.
Okay, or you could see a list of students representing students across many different grade levels. We're recommending approval of the out of district enrollment applications for the following students for the 25-26 school year.
Any clarifying question? Okay, any public comment? Back to the board for a motion or further discussion.
I guess I was just curious to delineate, because how we just did the policy where we're delineating out renewals versus new. So are these all new applications for out of district, or are some of them renewals, or how does that? Like, how will we know that, I guess, moving forward? What will that look like to us? Or
These are all new.
Okay.
Renewals are required to get their applications in by April 15th, and that was true in the previous
Yeah.
policy. too.
Okay. But what if someone didn't renew and then said, oh, wait, now I want to come back in, they would be considered a new.
They would consider it new.
Okay, so
So
all
if
just
they don't
new.
get their application in by April 15th, and it says that policy,
Great.
they will be considered an out of district, new out of district. Oh,
Okay. Thanks for clearing.
yep.
I move we accept this list of out of district students.
Second.
All right, moved by Jerry and seconded by Quincy, all in favor? I think that's everybody. Moving on to N, out of district student application with Mr. Means.
So administration recommends denial of the out of district application for the following student for the 25-26 school year. Because adding another student to this grade level would exceed the 87% of the accreditation cap for that grade level. As referenced in the district's strategic plan. This represents sixth grade. We are full in sixth grade.
Any clarifying question? Any public comment? Back to the board for a motion or further discussion.
So again, just to clarify, as we move forward with what we just voted on, so if it was being denied because they were not meeting the criteria of extenuating circumstances, or it would be worded differently, like this mentions the accreditation cap for the grade level, it would instead say something along the lines of.
Yeah, there's
Some of the
there's some
language.
criteria for not accepting, and one would be suspensions or expulsion.
Right.
Another would be grade level caps like this.
Yep.
Or program caps.
Okay,
for the
program
education.
cap is what it would be. Okay.
It would be another.
Okay. So. This student, this is the August deadline right now, is that these people, or is this the July deadline? Are we?
This is the August deadline, but,
So they wouldn't be able to reapply till January, is what I was asking. They reapply in
Correct.
January.
this group right here would be able to reapply January.
Okay.
There's something related to this that we did get a few applications in as soon as yesterday.
Okay.
So we will need to consider some in September. Because that previous policy was in effect.
Right.
So in September, we'll consider a few,
Mhm.
but at that point.
But
after
otherwise
that,
it's
we're gonna be
January.
Moving to Jan.
Okay.
So pre-August 12th, essentially.
Yeah.
Starting plan.
Yeah.
So,
I move we approve this as, or do we have public?
yeah, you've done, yeah.
Move we
right.
approve as presented.
I'll second.
Moved by Quincy and seconded by Jerry, all in favor. Okay, so we are on O, out of district student application with Mr. Needs.
And this is another recommendation for denial due to. Adding another student would exceed the credit, 87% of the accreditation cap for this grade level. This grade level represents fifth grade.
Any other clarifying questions? Or any public comment? Back to the board for further discussion or emotion.
Actually, we approve as presented.
Second. Okay, good. Moved by Quincy, seconded by Rainey, all in favor. Okay, item P, out of district student application with Mr. Needs.
And then again, administration recommends denial of this out of district application for the following student for the 25-26 school year. Because adding another student would exceed the program level accreditation cap per OPI standards.
Gotcha.
It's a little different.
Mm.
OPI standards for accreditation for early literacy are 10, the cap is 10. We're exceeding that with adding another student.
Any clarifying questions? Is there any public comment? Back to the board for discussion and your motion.
And move that we deny this application as presented.
Okay. Moved by Jerry and seconded by Quincy, all in favor? Everybody? Okay. Q is a City of Whitefish public notice of land use action with Mr. Means.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring this to the board's attention. This is an application. We receive these from time to time. These public notice of land use action, and this one is highlighting that there's a proposal for a bar liquor license directly across from the Whitefish Middle School entrance, or very near to it. So I wanted to bring this to the attention of the board, let you know about this proposed land use action. You can see that there are public opportunities for public comment on this, and it will also be going for the city as well. There is a state law, and it's titled Title 16, Chapter 3, Section 306 of Montana Code annotated, that it restricts the issuance of a retail alcohol license within 600 feet of a district, school district, or church. But local governments can provide exemptions through zoning, through some law, as well as, in speaking with the city. It's important to note, the city of Whitefish, as you know, because there are some establishments around here that are closer than 600 feet already. There's one right across the street, there's another place that, in this establishment, there's been previous wine. Licenses and things like that, there's been other beer and wine licenses in this near this location as well. So they've previously allowed beer and wine licenses to operate this address actually, which is permitted by city ordinance. So based on information from the city planning director, the city has advised, the applicant to seek guidance from the state of Montana regarding whether or not an entity with a full liquor license can operate at this address. That's something that they've advised them to do, but again, that would be up to the state to determine, and that's up to them, so.
My question is, what are their operating hours? If their operating hours started after school was out, that would be one thing. But if their operating hours, for example, started at noon, that might be of more concern.
Yeah, I don't know that either,
Yeah.
yeah. And it does look as though it's allowed under zoning for the city, so, as evidenced by previous approvals.
Okay.
But again, the state is saying it's really up to or the city is saying it's up to the state to determine about issuing the license.
I was thinking urban omni is fall, and then I think that they're within 600. Even though they don't
And-
start, and,
And the firebrand, but
Yeah.
someone said one of the reasons why they put the entrance to the hotel on the far side is because that's further away.
Huh.
So the entrance to the hotel is from the parking lot. And the entrance to Urban Alney is the actual entrance is
on the other side.
from the other street.
Hmm.
But there was, when Coach's Corner went in, there was discussion about that, they thought that was too.
Yeah, there's been, I think, 3 different things that have come through in recent years within the same street right across from the middle school
Yeah.
here. So it's
It's probably a bad deal.
And this was
I
more
just-
informational.
Yeah, it's a discussion item I wanted to bring to your
Yeah.
attention. It's certainly, trustees if wanted to could provide public comment at one of these sessions or something.
I was just curious, since it is a discussion item and it's kind of in the same vein here, has the school or does anybody have any inkling of what's going where Jersey Boys and Whitefish, like where that building, does anybody know what they're putting there?
No,
Okay,
I'm not,
I didn't know if you've gotten any notice on it.
no,
Doesn't
no,
say
yeah,
that there.
typically we did notice.
Curious.
Usually thought it was the name.
So-
What was that place that started in Jackson, or? Mesquite, I thought you didn't name the.
Oh, the one that this one is proposed is in Kemosabe.
Right, this one
Oh,
is, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So the whole building is getting cleared out, I'm just curious what's gonna happen, mostly I'm curious what's gonna happen with parking.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh geez, what's this, yeah, so. Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Yes, thank you for the information.
We don't need any public comment.
No, not
No,
a discussion
okay.
item.
Okay, we'll move into reports, and trustee announcements. Are there any trustee announcements?
Just an FYI, I'll be zooming our Douglas meeting.
Oh. And I sent an email out and it might affect you,
Oh,
about
I saw
the
that.
parent, there's a parent meeting the same night,
Yeah,
and
it's just
so
odd that-
we pushed it to 6:30
Sure.
in case
Mhm.
someone, any parents wanted to go to that.
I guess I just had a general, I don't know if this is the right time to ask, but since this is our last business meeting and our next work session before school starts is pretty agended out already. I was just curious how things were going, getting ready for back to school, and stuff like that. If there's anything as far as, I know we had some big changes, through different staffing changes and all that kind of stuff, but if there's anything else that needed to be shared. Anything exciting on the horizon? Not to put you on the spot, but just.
Oh, am I up
fun
for
to
share?
share.
Am I up for my?
Yeah.
Are you,
Yeah.
or is that in that? Yeah, okay.
You can tell us
I
exactly.
didn't know if that was gonna get into that or if you're just gonna talk about.
Yeah, I'll
Go for
try
it.
to provide some district updates. I mean, I think we provided some information that went out to the community regarding some of the initiatives we're starting this year, our mental health initiative and wellness initiative that we're really excited about starting that conversation. talking about access and support out in our community and the happiness for educators course that's offered to our staff and things like that. That's an exciting we're doing and talking about, and it's an important conversation. Students can engage in those conversations as well. Our high school students have a club that's oriented toward that conversation. So we're looking forward to that. So that's kicking off at the start of the year. We're doing a lot of work preparing for the year in terms of looking at some of our structures around curriculum and instruction related to providing our students student agency and understanding of what their expectations are in terms of priority standards and how they can learn towards those pathways. We'll be talking a lot about that with our staff coming up. We're looking forward to the welcome back breakfast celebration, honoring our teachers as they come back with the service award celebration. We have many teachers and people who've been here for many years serving our students in the schools, and it's a great opportunity to recognize that. We will have a guest presenter coming in. I'm sure surprise, but a guest speaker who will come in and talk a little bit about really how recognizing that our staff are very successful in helping students succeed in many different ways, engaging them in that conversation, and then what does it mean to start off the year continuing that theme, safe, welcoming environment, and providing that to our staff, as our students as we start the year. What are the strategies that many of them have used, and what are some great strategies that are out there to discuss? And that will be kind of an opportunity to have some conversations as a staff, and we'll lead those conversations. We're looking forward to that. But we have staff who've been here for many years, up to 35 years. So in this room, I don't know, but so we have some certainly service awards to provide that are very meaningful, and people who've been here for a long time, because this district does great things and people stick around. So it's neat to see that happen. And we'll recognize that first day. So another thing I wanted to touch on is the as we prepare for the year, we want to ensure we get information out to parents so they feel welcome and understanding about what's coming up, what to expect, what are the timelines for the year. So you've seen some of that communications already, but more will be coming from our principals. But another piece of information that will be important will be how to get to the school, because of the construction work that's going on around the school. So we are in frequent contact with the city here. I have been recently, and they believe they will have Pine Avenue completely open, as well as 7th Street. And so, but 6th Street may not be completely finished, but that's okay. That's not used very frequently, but there will be some impact because 6th Street might not be completely finished. Parts of it will be.
Depends on whether they block off Columbia, the main artery.
Yeah, and I can't remember it, but we will have information prior to the start of school year that we'll send out to families and let them know about exactly what that looks like. And there are some change in direction on some of those streets. Like 6th Street becomes a one-way street, things like that. So it's important for people to know. And the city is providing some diagrams they'll provide to us. That might come pretty late, like a few days, maybe one day before the start of the school year, before we get that information out, because we want to make sure it's timely in notifying people about what to expect on that first day. So, but a lot to get prepared for. The buildings are being cleaned and being prepared. And there's just a lot of excitement. Teachers are coming in the building already, getting prepared, and getting set up in their classrooms. So it's an exciting time for sure. I think we had coaches meetings today, so that was neat to see them come in and get started in that process. We'll have some parent meetings for coaches. We'll be leading some of those I think that's next week. And parent meetings with coaches and students together, I think. What they call Positive Coaching Alliance training. So we're excited about that too.
And is that new this year?
That's brand new this year.
What did they used to do for parent meetings with, or were there no parent meetings? What did it use to look like?
There's always.
There's always
parent
been some
meetings,
kind of-
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but this is a group that comes in and does some informational training with both parents and students together. And then with coaches separately going through some of the key components. We're looking forward to that. More information should be coming out on that soon. We're excited about that too. No, I touched on a lot of things there. Any other district updates I missed? One of the things I wanted to talk about was this board docs to the Diligent Community Platform, because that's directly related to our work here. What we're looking at right now on the screen is the board docs platform, right? It's the way it looks if you look at our agenda, okay? But I attached a document that shows what our agenda would look like in the new platform. So if you click on that, you can see that it looks quite a bit different. It's got it looks more like a more typical agenda. Let's see. So this is how it will look on the website as you see it. So the opening items will be listed there. That all looks fairly similar. But like some things are a little bit different, like you see approval of minutes and then it's listed under in italics, it says action. It's a little bit different than how it's currently set up.
Yeah,
Right, so that denotes it as an action item.
and the public comment is exactly what.
Yeah, it's the same language, everything,
Yeah.
the language will be the same, everything,
But what I mean is the language is listed much more clearly in bigger print.
Right.
So that people really can see it, because
good.
it's kind of small in the other.
What the numerical, like 7 to 14, 15 to 18, 19,
Yeah,
along the right. about
7 to
order.
14.
Well, I was wondering about this because this is like page 6 of 388 or page 5 of 388.
Oh, yeah, so this is not all the pages. But it is that many pages, because what it does is it includes all the attachments. That's because of all the policies we had.
Right.
Gotcha.
So remember, all the policies would have made this
There's our agenda,
if we printed it out, it's 388 page document, right? So, yeah,
But are 7 to 14 like the reference pages, anything?
That's what he said.
Or the 15 to 18?
oh, yeah, probably is,
Yeah, because the minutes are.
the minutes include that many pages within them.
And if you click on this draft,
Yeah, you won't, it won't do that in this, in the typical, in the format, yes, anything that's an attachment, you'll just be able to click on that blue attachment.
Okay. And it'll come.
It'll come right up. Good. It's very similar, but
It's a little different.
easier to use as on the user side, on the back end side, we're working with it, designing it, and there's a few more features and things like that, so. We are hoping to use this new format in the next meeting, so. The next regular board meeting, I'm sorry. Work session, so, September, so, we're gonna try to do that. So again, it may look a little different, but.
So does it just affect the meetings and it's not anyplace else in the website? It's just the document piece.
Well, it's so when you go onto the website, if you were to go under policies and go to meetings, or if you're gonna click on meeting, it's gonna look different. It's not gonna look like this. At all. It's gonna look like that. It's gonna it will have a list of the meetings. I don't have an example of that, but I have a list of meetings. It will. Good way to describe it is it'll look more like our website looks.
Oh, so the
You know,
Or
and then
as
you'll
they-
see, and then you'll see, oh, okay, I click here for the meeting, and it will pull up the meeting. And once you pull up the meeting, it will look like what we just looked at.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more user friendly as well, easier to understand. Any other questions about the start of the school year? Good.
Just gets all. We'll move on to Lucy for her presentation.
Thank you. First business report of the new year. I'd like to start the August business report with a summary of the prior year results. Some of you who've been on the board for a bit surely recognize this. I like to look at budget management and debt management as those two main benchmarks. So in the upper half of page 1 shows our budgeted expenses and how much we actually spent in each of those funds. And in the section titled, how did we manage debt? We know that we actually raised more debt. So our debt is now at a total of $57.9 million. But now, what does it really mean? You know, I like numbers. Standalone number doesn't really tell the story. A number only tells a story when compared in relation to another number. And what I did here is I looked at what the district's bonding capacity is. That is, how much could the district raise in debt if we wanted to go out and obtain more debt? And that value is obtained from taxable valuation of all real estate properties within the districts. And if you look at the two tax districts, elementary and high school, I show you how much debt has been issued. For the elementary, 26.5 million, but the bonding capacity, meaning how much debt in total could elementary have raised or could raise, is $153 million. So we're using only 17% of our bonding capacity. With the high school, the numbers are a little bit higher. We currently have 2 bond issues that we're paying off. The old 2012 bond issue is still on the books, plus the new one. So $42.6 million in debt out of $157 million of possible debt at 27%. So this is just, I think those percentages of the bond capacity used are still very reasonable. I just read an article today or yesterday from MTSBA that I think Helena School District is looking for, the number was over $300 million. Was it? Yes, over $300 million for school renovations and buildings. And I just gasped. I'm glad we don't have to do that. Pages 2 through 4 show our usual reports. I'm not sure why my cat report was scanned so much larger than the other pages, so I apologize about that. The detailed budget to actual expenditures for the general fund, which I usually add at the end of this report. I just ran over it. But the summary spreadsheets give you the whole story. Not much happening at this time of the year yet. The general fund is at 4.6% spent for elementary and 3.7% spent year to date, meaning July 1 to date, and the other tax levied funds, the spending there is at about 3% over. So not much happening, but It will all start next month with payroll and all that. Any questions? You lose.
Yeah, it looks like we were, saved some money that we were under budget in several
In
areas.
some of those, yes, and we'll keep it in a form of cash reserve.
Mhm. Good job,
It's-
very fiscally responsible.
The whole district is very
I know.
fiscally responsible.
Yes.
All 250 people. Any other questions? So we'll move into the consent agenda. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? To the board for any discussion or emotion on the consent agenda?
I move we accept the consent agenda.
I second. Moved by Jerry and seconded by Quincy, all in favor? One last item.
I move we adjourn.
Quincy move, we adjourn.
Maybe, second.
Moved by Quincy, seconded by Rainey, all in favor. Great, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.